Welcome, my dear lifelong learners, beautiful souls on this journey called life. Today's topic is an interesting one and a deep one. It's about how to form deep and meaningful connections with people. One of my favorite authors, memoirists, social activists, her name is Maya Angelou. She said this: people do not remember what you said, people do not remember what you did. What they do remember and never forget is how you made them feel. Isn't that beautiful? And it's so true. Kindness and compassion is an integral part of us as humans. But have you noticed that when the competition gets fierce, like in today's times, right? It's a fiercely competitive world. Somehow these intrinsic essential values just take a backseat. Yeah. I mean, think about it. There are 1,000 plus connections probably on your LinkedIn profile, and you've got like a few thousand or tens of thousands of followers on your Insta profile. But if I ask you to name one that will stand there and lose blood for you, take a bullet for you will probably have to screen through your list a few times. Isn't that true? And you know why that happens? Because we have connectivity, but not a bond, right? We are connecting through technology, but the bond is missing. And that's a gift I believe we need to give ourselves as human beings. And that's something that we are going to talk about. But when we speak about deep connections, when we speak about meaningful relationships, it does take time. It requires effort on your part. You have to commit yourself to that. And that's why the first thing that I want you to be certain about before you take the effort to become deeply connected with someone is ask yourself, is this person worth it? Because if I'm committing so much of myself and my life to this person, are they worth my deep commitment? Will they respect and value it? And will they reciprocate it if that's how you want it to be? Right? Without that, do not move forward because not everyone thinks of you the way you think they are thinking of you. What we think we are is one thing, what we think people think we are is another thing. What actually people think we are is a third thing altogether, right? So understand whether you both are on the same page. In fact, when we're speaking about making connections, there was an anthropologist by the name of Dunbar. Okay, he did a whole lot of studies, and there's something called a Dunbar's number that he came up with. The study essentially was about how we form connections with people throughout our life. Okay, so there are degrees of depth in our connection, right? So the Dunbar's number says this: 150 people. 150 people is what you'll be connected with at one point in time in your life. That's your maximum capacity. And the way he breaks down this 150 is there are five in your innermost circle, people who know your deepest, darkest secrets, or will be there at 3 a.m. for you, right? Then there are 10 in the outer circle that you call your really, really good friends. Then there are 35 in the outside circle who are, hey, you can turn to them if you need help. They can turn to you. And, it's a good going, like good relationship. And then in the outermost circle, there are 100 that you see once in a while. You may connect, bump into at parties, or, probably long lost friends on your social media that pop up in your feed once in a while, right? So 5, 10, 35, 100. That's how he has explained it. But this was done a while ago. And I personally feel this doesn't exist anymore like this. The way I think it exists today, this is you, one person in the center, and then there are 149 other people around you asking for your attention at the same time. And the one who is the loudest wins. Isn't that true? Don't you feel like that sometimes? I feel like that a lot of times. And this is the problem. Why? Because sometimes someone is important, they require our attention, and then you put everybody else on the back burner. And then suddenly somebody else requires your attention, and everyone else goes on the back burner. This person pops up. And you know why this happens? Because it's so easy to stay connected through the technology today, but we are still not in the relationship. We are just connecting with each other, maybe face to face, maybe on WhatsApp or whatever social media app that you use, right? And that's why there's more noise, there's so much stimuli, okay, so many in the environment. There's so many things demanding our attention, and that's why forming a deep connection becomes a greater challenge today. Yeah. And this is why I'm going to give you, there are 7 points that I'm going to share with you today. I want you to take these down because they are so powerful and they are non-negotiable. And I assure you that when you put these to use, the relationship you have with the person that you do these with is going to be of another level, like heavenly beautiful. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to remember is this: always, 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 always be authentic. Whenever I've seen this happen to people, okay, whenever there's a new relationship that people are forming, they'll always show up in their best avatar. Like they'll always want to be only good and only positive and only, but that's not who you are 100% of the time. Sometimes you are cranky, sometimes you are angry, sometimes you're irritated, sometimes you're negative, sometimes you're sad, and that's human, that's okay. That's being truthful. So I'm not saying scare people off by showing them your makeupless face like true colors right off the bat, but do not pretend to be stronger than you are or sweeter than you are. Don't pretend to be something you think the opposite person will like. Why? Because over a period of time they will discover who you truly are, and then they'll be disappointed, and you will end up losing them in spite of the fact that you're such a good person. So, authenticity is non negotiable. Be authentic. Second point, be present. And now be very honest with me when I ask you this. How many times in the middle of a conversation with someone face to face do you check your phone? How many times? Yeah, every 5 minutes you'll be like, if there's a ding, you'll just pick up your phone and you'll be like, oh, just 5 seconds. Let me just check whose message it is. Why? Why can't you just be present with them? Forget the rest of the world exists when you're connecting with this one person. You know how they'll end up feeling? First, they'll end up feeling weird. Why? Because they are not used to getting undivided attention from anyone. Second, they'll end up feeling like you care about them and that you genuinely value them. Don't you want to give them that gift? Yeah. Put that damn phone away when you're in a conversation with someone. Be present so that you can connect with them honestly, truthfully, with your eyes and your mind equally. Yeah. And your ears equally. Right. The third one, whenever you're building a relationship with someone, don't just be interested, be committed. What do I mean by that? You know, people are interested in conversations of topic. Oh, you went skydiving? Even I went skydiving. Now we are bonding on skydiving and we're discussing how amazing skydiving was. So I'm interested in the conversation. Cut to, suddenly they're talking about something else, and that's not a topic of interest for me. Now my mind has started wandering. You know what I'm saying? You see it, don't you? Right? So, what you're going to do is not going to check out in the middle of a conversation. You're going to be committed to getting to know them, because when you know them, you know what makes them tick, you know what makes them smile, you know what makes them weak or sad, you know what breaks them, you know what makes them, right? And that is what is going to build a beautiful, deep connection, meaningful connection with them, isn't it? Yeah. So be interested in their conversation, yes, but be committed to caring about them. And I'll tell you something very, very honestly, there's no substitute for caring. Full stop. There is no substitute. When you genuinely care about a person, no, they can tell. You can't con someone into thinking that you care about them, right? So when you genuinely want to build a connection with someone, they will be able to tell. Yeah, and they'll respect that and they'll value that. The next point, which is point number 4, you must have heard this: do not listen to respond, listen to understand. Have you heard this quote? Yeah, you must have heard it, right? I dismiss this entire quote. I say listen to listen. You know what I mean by that? Sometimes I'm listening to people talking, right? And these are people I value in my life. I don't understand a word of what they're saying sometimes. They're talking about something very random and it's gone above my head. And I'm still there in the conversation. I'm not checked out even if I don't understand. Because here's the thing. They don't want a solution from me. Sometimes people don't come to you because they want your brilliant advice. They just come to you because they want someone to listen to them, right? And so I listen. And at the end of the conversation, they go, "Thank you for listening." you know, I don't know if I was rambling. I don't know if I made any sense. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I heard you. I'm here with you, right? So being present, being committed, and listening for the sake of listening, not for the sake of judging, understanding, analyzing, providing your own chavanni athanni input, smart ass comments. No, just be present with them, because when somebody feels heard, it's the greatest gift they get. And when they feel respected and cared for, they will begin to be fond of you. That bond between the two of you will be very, very, very beautiful. Yeah. And that's what they will want to do for you too. They will want to reciprocate, right? The next one, which is the fifth point, is I know you have a busy life, but if you want to build a bond with someone, you have to give them some of your time. So, the solution to your busy life and still wanting to connect deeply is schedule them in your calendar of your daily to do activities, once a week, once a month, how much ever your frequency may be, right? That's your choice. Schedule them into your life. Make sure that your phone is away during that time and you're doing nothing but being present with them. Okay. Point number six. I love this and I always do this. Do not wait for them to ask for help. Do not wait. Sometimes we can see that the opposite person is in a jam or a difficult situation, and we know what they might need help with. Be proactive and offering. At the most they will say, no thank you, I don't need it. Okay, no problem, right? No harm done. But at least now they know they have you and they can turn to you in their time of need, right? So be proactive about offering help. And the last one, this is my favorite one, point number 7: do not ever leave anything incomplete, please. I see a lot of open loops in relationships, in friendships, in professional relationships, in husband wife relationships, where one person says, you know what, we'll do this next Monday 5 o'clock, or I will respond to this email in the next 2 days, and then they don't do it. For them it's not a big deal because it wasn't important for them in the first place. But for you it's a big deal, and you keep waiting and you keep waiting, and it gets more and more tentative, and it gets more and more uncertain, and you land up in a place thinking, I don't think this person is reliable, I can't trust them, I can't depend on them. Isn't that true? So don't do this to people. Close all your loops. If you've said you're going to do something, do it. Even if it's late, or even if it's a yes or a no, give it to them, whatever that answer may be. But do not leave people hanging, because tentativeness creates uncertainty, unreliability, and untrustworthiness. So if you want to form a deep connection with someone, gaining their trust is the foundation, right? Every relationship is built on the foundation of trust. So these 7 points that I just shared with you, put them to use starting right now, and watch how your relationships turn around. I wish you connections that are heavenly and harmonious, and even when you disagree, you find a way to resolve the situation without biting each other's head off. Yeah. God bless. This is me, Prachi, signing off. I'll catch you in the next episode. Always be phenomenal.